Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo, and this is the MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness Fairs and all of our events. Tonight is one of our awakening panels for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. And the theme tonight is Shamanism and Soul Retrieval. It's an exciting topic. I'm thrilled to have some of the practitioners back, particularly to talk about this theme. And it's not my specialty, so I'm holding space tonight. We just have so many different events. I'm thrilled that we're back to doing more of our online events and while we're getting our in-person events going. And yeah, it's just great to be here with you. So Shamanism and Soul Retrieval. We will have the practitioners introduce themselves and share about what they do and talk a bit about the theme. So Saidi, Susy, and take minutes.
All right, sounds good. Hi, everyone. My name is Wyatt. It has been a little while since I've been here, and those of you that have been here before probably know my face. Those of you that are new, hello. I'm a shamanism practitioner, actor, storyteller, adventurer, extraordinaire of many things, I'm sure. And I'm here because I do a lot of healing, and what I'm learning is healing through story right now, and how we can connect to ourselves by touching aspects of ourselves in a safe space, like through storytelling. And soul retrieval kind of fits into that, as in when we lose a piece of our soul, that is a very major part of our story. Something traumatic happens that sets us on our adventure, right? This trauma is a healthy piece of the soul leaving its body, this dissociation. And through soul retrieval, we are able to grab that and bring it back to ourselves. In doing so, we are dealing with the trauma of that story. We are able to reintegrate through words, through healing, through therapy, through psychedelics, or whatever that you do to be able to do this in a safe space, of course, to reconnect to your story, to where you are the one telling the story now and not your trauma. So I do a lot of that, and these past few months I've been on a very wild adventure on my own, in social media and the TikTok app, and so much I've been doing telling my stories, and it's been fun, and I've been learning a lot, and I'm here renewed, revigorated to start telling my story for you guys and maybe help you reconnect to yours. So I'll pass on the mic.
Ask you if you could share just a little bit more. Could you share a little bit about the winds and your pathway to how you came to,
yeah, absolutely. So the wind is one of my many spirits that I work with. The wind initially came to me when I was in training, when I was with my shamanic teachers, and it helped me specifically with soul retrieval, funny enough, soul retrieval and extractions, which is quite interesting. But the wind has kind of always been there for me. The wind is, our breath is our connection to the wind. So when we are breathing, we are connected to a very specific kind of spirit. And it is this that we kind of walk. The wind, when I began my journey with the wind, I ran into another shaman. Her name is Renee Baribeau. And she is kind of a pioneer of a specific kind of shamanic practice known as the wind work or wind walking. And through my various whistles, and I would grab one, but I have a cat on my lap, but they're up there, and through the whistles and different techniques, I'm able to help someone connect to the wind and call in a wind and experience a tearing apart of the self to re-find the true self. It's very interesting, very powerful, and you'll probably hear it as soon as I move my cat. So, but yes.
Thanks, Wyatt, for sharing a bit more about that. All right, go ahead, Valerie.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Valerie Szarek. Wyatt, would you please tell us your cat's name?
Yeah, her name is Freya.
Freya, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It only seemed appropriate to know all the practitioners here by name. Yeah, yes, I can turn up my sound. Is that better when I get closer? And talk? Okay, yeah. Thanks, Lisa, for asking. Yeah, so my name's Valerie Szarek. I'm a shamanic practitioner, um, energy healer. I started training around 1972, 1973 with the Sova method and learning psychic healing. And oh, we used to just play with mind reading all the time in school. And my family were all healers and practitioners on different ways. And so it's really grown into a family where this type of lifestyle was expected. It was all taken for granted that as little kids, when we were driving somewhere, my father would say, "Okay, guys, get real quiet and tell me when we've driven a mile or 2 miles." And we were expected to be able to do those things. So I'm really grateful to be raised in the non-ordinary reality magic. So I've studied lots of energy work and soul retrieval, and I dabbled a little tiny bit in Kabbalah within the healing school. And in Kabbalah, they say that we are born whole, like the letter I, like a pillar. And then life shatters us, it splits us off. And that our healing journey, as Wyatt was talking about, is to find those parts and bring them in. And what I've found with working with people and through my own journey is that the pieces they hold safe parts of us. They hold parts of us. And like I find a lot of little kids living in the woods with the animals, just waiting for us to get healed enough and resourced enough to call them back in. And so when these parts they present when they're ready to come home, and they sometimes we'll do a healing with them, or sometimes they've already done the work. I find often we do a little more healing with them, and they always bring a gift. So they'll tell us what that gift is, or the strength, or what part are they bringing back to us. And it's really amazing to get that sense of wholeness coming in every time you do a soul retrieval. And it's not something we do once and done. It's that we'll always find these pieces and parts. We'll always bring more in. So I do shamanic sessions and medicine poetry, and I find that surrendering to the spirit of poetry is always bringing in parts and pieces and unexpected gifts to myself and the listeners and other writers who write this way. So I also do want to call out to what's happening in Ukraine and Russia and Eastern Europe and other parts of the world, that I believe it's very much connected to soul loss. I think if we were all aligned with our hara, if we were all whole humans, empowered, grounded in our hearts, humans, things like war couldn't even happen. So it's a beautiful night to be talking about that. And plus, I need to talk about that when these things are going on. So thanks for having me. I can't wait to learn a lot tonight with you all.
Thanks, Val. Maybe Sadie, and then Susy, and then Hannah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Saidi. I'm with Evolve Your Sexuality. I'm super passionate about supporting women to clear fear and trauma from their energy body, physical body, mind, and spirit, particularly as it pertains to inherited trauma that has been passed down through many thousands of years of violence perpetrated against us by way of sexual, psychological, and emotional abuse, many other forms of abuse as well. Not only do we inherit these toxic, traumatic energies from our ancestors, but many of us have our own experiences of sexual trauma that add to our pain and suffering. I'm so excited to be here this evening, as soul retrieval is such a powerful practice to support our healing from sexual abuse and trauma, as it is so common for our soul to fragment during these horrible experiences. of abuse as a way to protect itself and deal with the intense assault on the psyche. In addition to soul retrieval, I utilize various other energy healing modalities to support the clearing of these unhealthy energies. My favorites being sound, vibration, other shamanic practices, and magic. I offer a variety of other sessions that you can find on my website, as well as a few super intensive programs to support a total deep dive and powerful life transformation. My ultimate passion is to support us all in returning to a stronger connection to Mother Earth, to Source, and to a healthier expression of our sexual energies, as these are so fundamental to our experience in these human bodies. I am super grateful for this opportunity to be here with you all, and I look forward to all the wisdom and insight that we'll be hearing this evening. So thank you all. Really excited to be here, and it's just a great time to be alive on the planet. I think despite all the craziness, it's exciting. So yeah.
Thanks, Sadie. Go ahead, Susie.
Thanks, Lorelei. Thanks, Sadie, and everybody else. I'm Susy Parker Goins of Blue Lightning Healing. I do use shamanic practices in what I do. I channel and I bring through source to manifest it in a physical way so that you can actually have a conversation, a face-to-face with your guides, with that inner child, or with whatever ancestor is coming through to help you move along on your path, to help you resolve the issues or integrate the lessons more than anything. These is that techniques I've used. One of the visuals put somebody in like this identified those bits of themselves back up and back in part of you. You just want to feel to give yourself the really part of it. Well, this is caring for yourself in such a way so that you're tender for yourself, tender with yourself, giving yourself those considerations that so many people are happy to take from you. It is about stories. I feel that all of our stories inform our healing practices and how we best resonate with healing. So I love hearing the stories of practitioners and people who sit with us so that we can all work together and find the healing, how our personal experiences can inform your personal experience. Peter Levine is a trauma specialist, and I know our lovely friend Galactic Ashley puts it so succinctly when she says, as I heal, you heal, and as you heal, I heal. Mm-hmm. Peter Levine says that also. I don't know how he says it, but I feel that as we give ourselves permission to heal, to do these shadow work practices that help us regain that fuller sense of who we are, to allow us to really become in touch, to come in touch with source, that I totally lost my track. But as we do that healing, we can help other people do that. We can help other people and give them that permission to move forward. I had done an interview with my friend Mary McKenzie, and another one of her quotes was that we are the eyes of source. So all of the experiences that we share here, not only in forum, but as we walk on our path of life and we have our life experiences, when we return to source, we are also informing source, giving source more to work with and to fill out just that breadth and immensity of what source is, because we are source. And I feel that soul retrieval reminds us of that we do have these pieces that we may have left scattered about like breadcrumbs, but we can bring them back into ourselves. Mm-hmm. So sessions with me include whatever we need in the moment. Mm-hmm. And if there's something I don't feel confident in doing, confident to help you with, I'm happy to send you on to somebody else who's trustworthy. And I feel that the practitioners here are all incredibly trustworthy and full of integrity. And I am so pleased and proud to be on these panels and to work with these amazing souls. Yeah, that's what I got right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Susie. Go ahead, Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah York with Holistic Healing by Hannah, and my primary focus is medical intuition, scanning your body to help you release and identify the energetic blocks that are keeping your body from healing itself. So whether that's past life trauma, soul retrieval, disassociation, just simply that your body even wants to tell you a message that you've been storing. Are you carrying other people's energy? So it's just really helping you learn to communicate with your body, with your inner children, with your past lives, every aspect of yourself, because we can lose pieces of us in so many different ways that you never thought possible. But the wonderful thing is your soul, your body always knows where to find them when you're ready. So that's just a little bit about, we've got Zoe, the black kitty, helping out over here too,
Oh, good.
to stay it off screen. It's okay.
Great, thank you so much. Well, Shimayo, share our whole set of sensitivity and to ways that we're owning the self given away, had to give away in order to make it here. Sometimes when some people aim to take things, and the safest thing to do was to get up to people's soul and their honor and curious about their soul, to embed their soul energy to shine through who they are and in the body. You must great choices in your life will play. Specifically do this way. Very excited about this theme and this group of people and all of you here supporting and doing this all together. If I can, my video will work. Practitioners, is there anything else about yourselves that you want to share that I'm hearing anyone else share? Had you think of something else about yourselves you'd love to contribute before we go on? Anything else about your backgrounds and how you came to do what you do, and anything else you appreciate about this and the theme? Maybe is there anything that anyone wants to share about you? Some of you have touched on soul retrieval. Is there anything else more explicit you want to say about what soul retrieval is, or how, even like what shamanism is for people that might be watching this and don't have any other experience?
I can say a couple things about it.
Sure.
So I was trained in energy work and many modalities, and it was very powerful for me. And there was another part that kept kind of calling me. And ever since I was a child, I'd be walking in the woods, and right now, so I won't. I'm an elder here, and I still to this day carry little stones in my pockets. These when I'd be a little kid walking on the trail, a stone would say, "Hey, pick me up, carry me for a while." And then after a while it would say, "Oh, leave me here," or "Oh, take me home," or like there was a different part of the world that was speaking to me. And so in like shamanism is really communing with nature, with nature spirits, with the earth, with the elements that Wyatt was talking about, the wind. For me, the stone beings speak my name. They teach me, they call me to them and teach me really deep wisdoms. It's shamanism is heart-centered. It always moves through the heart. And a lot of people mistakenly think that it's Native American, and sometimes these people think that that you can't be a white shaman or a white practitioner. A lot of us will say practitioner because we feel it's more respectful. Others will say shaman, that they're shamans, and that's equally good. But shamanism actually originated in Siberia at 10,000 years ago. And your shamans kept the village healthy. They knew where food was, how to find food. They communed with the elements, and they were the soothsayers, the intuitives. They were like your village survived according to how good your shaman was. So it was really important. It was passed down through lineages. So every continent, I guarantee you have shamanism in your ancestral background. We all do. And we all, there's so much, so many people studying this beautiful healing art today because I think we need it so much. And so many you know, talking about soul retrievals, we're doing healer retrievals, we're doing shaman retrievals, because so many of us got lost on that path. And, you know, a lot of us in the 60s became drug addicts and alcoholics, and that was really soul sickness. Alcohol is called spirit. You know, it was really a longing for that deep spiritual home that we weren't finding here. We weren't having ceremony and ritual leading us into life transitions, and we ended up with soul sickness. And we immigrated to different lands, and we lost our umbilical cord to the lands we came from. So shamanism is really just earth-centered healing modality that can really call you home. Maybe I'll look up this poem by Joy Harjo tonight, or you can look it up on your own. For Calling the Spirit Back by Joy Harjo. She's our United States Poet Laureate for Calling the Spirit Back, because we need to come back. So we all need this work. So thanks. Yeah, I get passionate about this.
That's great. That's great. Anyone have anything else they want to share? Kind of general context before we keep going?
I'll speak a few words. Just kind of piggybacking off of what Valerie said, because she put it in a very poetic way, what shamanism is. And the way it was taught to me, shamanism, you walk with a foot in two worlds, always. So when you are speaking to a shaman or to someone who practices the path of shamanism, you're speaking to someone who maintains that bridge between the two worlds. The spirit I work very, very heavily with, being a shaman, being my protector, is the yew tree, because the yew tree is the tree of death and rebirth. They have roots in both worlds. And so when you grow your roots into both of these realms, you're able to about leading going along with this has abilities. And that's taught to Odin, and became the shaman of the Asgards. And this became a very tradition passed down from essentially the gods into what is known as the Norse tribes. And there's a lot that you can go and find, but shamanism, the core, the bones of shamanism. And when you talk to any shamans, most of them love bones. I have a skull. I have bones. I have antlers. I have whatever. We love our bones. Reason being is because shamanism essentially is the bones of all belief, all spirituality, all earth, because it was the first belief that came about at the start of our rise. We needed to survive. Shamanism gave us that ability to survive. And so the bones of shamanism can be found in all practices throughout the world. It's the same thing when you talk to the Aboriginals in Australia, to the Peruvians, either the Incas, the Andes Mountains shamans, or going down to the Amazon basin, talking to the curanderos of the many tribes down there, going all the way over to the Sami, and so on and so forth. There is this shifting of consciousness to be able to do what we do, whether it's the use of plant friends, plant spirits, or music, or dance. It's the same. The bones are the same, and we travel to the same place to retrieve the information from the spirits. So here we all are, shamans and practitioners, bringing forth creative energy and messages to help people heal.
Thank you, Wyatt. Susy, was there anything else you wanted to share? Or
Well, I don't want to turn it into some sort of weird things, but I want to let Val know I appreciate how you have, well, frankly, exploded the cultural connotations of shamanism for me. I've had deep talks with Wyatt about it. And I mean, you know, Kat was talking in the chat about how emotional she's feeling, and I'm like, no, 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 I'm good. And like already, I'm like, oh, I am doing this, and I am helping people heal, and it means a lot to me to know that I am not infringing on somebody else's place, that I do have people who depend on me to help guide them through. And I think that's a big part of what shamanism and shadow work means to me, is that we are here to guide people through whatever experiences they have, whether it's trauma or getting caught up in the world around them. And we're all here as a community to help support each other, to bring us through this, because I know it's going to end all right. We're all going to be all right, and we can do this, but we've got to pull together to do it. And the shaman being a leader of a group to help shine a light on the path, however it falls for them. Thanks.
Thank you, Susie, Sadie, and Hannah.
This is a great conversation already. This is actually my kind of coming out with, I've been hesitant to use the term, you know, shaman, or I've started saying shamanic practitioner for the same reasons you said, Valerie. What natural progression for me on my spiritual path as I was connecting more with the earth and with my earth start chakra. I started just into different practices, trying to kind of early. And I guess, like you said, Wyatt, you know, one foot in this world and one in another world. Like that's just been kind of my life. And so it's been very natural progression. But and I didn't even actually know a lot of what I was learning was as I've learned more about shamanism, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's exactly what I've been doing. So now I kind of have some terminology to speak about it, I guess, but I've still been hesitant to, because I guess in my mind I had this vision of a shaman and what that was. And I think, I don't know. But anyways, discovering that, yeah, these are exactly the practices I've been doing. I have been doing for quite some time. And it's just, again, developed very naturally. And they're just so powerful. And yet it's just wisdom, you know, it's wisdom tradition, but wisdom doesn't change. It doesn't, you know, it's just what it is in what we're experiencing right now and how we work with healing. So, so I'm really appreciating being here. I'm appreciating this conversation, and I'm appreciating learning more from you all about what it means for you. So thank you. Thank you, Laureli, for bringing us all together like this. It feels very empowering, very empowering.
You're so welcome. Go ahead, Hannah.
So just to join into what else have shared is I've never used the term like shamanism to describe what I do. But I do this, I was called to this panel because I do the soul retrieval pieces so frequently in the work that I do. And I just wanted to share with you guys, I felt called to pull a couple cards from one of my favorite, oh, you guys can't see it. Let me turn my background off. One of my favorite decks here, which is the Mystical Shaman Oracle card decks. And the card that came up for the event today is actually the Council. And so the message that it has for all of us is listen with your inner senses. Actually allow yourself to be guided by what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what your soul is really asking you to find, and to turn off the ego, you know, and anything that is telling you that you're not up for the task before you, whether that's helping other people, whether it's whatever you guys are here to ask about, shut that voice off, because you are worthy, you're important enough, and you deserve to do it. I want to show you guys that card one more time. And you're not alone. You have your team with you. All you have to do is call on them. And that's all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for going. a bit deeper and also for kind of making the space more expansive. So before we answer questions, there are a couple things we're going to do, and my dog is contributing some snoring in the background. So when we answer your questions, you start off with a topic. If you want, you can give us some guidance as to how you want us to, kind of what bounds you want us to stay in as we answer. This is recorded and will be posted online. So if we go deeper than you want us to go in this setting, or we start talking about topics you don't want us sharing about, please interrupt us, let us know, tell us where you'd like us to be, and we will tune. We are here to honor you in our responses. Also, we believe that everyone's open, everyone's potentially intuitive and receiving. You might want to have a way you can write something down. Anything shows up for you. Messages are often fleeting. It's a great opportunity to confirm your intuition with anything that someone on the panel shares. You may have other things come through you that are relevant that we might not share. It's just a great chance to have confirmation that others are picking up similar things. So if something for the person that asked a question, request the panel ring. And then if you want, when we're done, feel free to private message that person who asked the question in chat and ask if they'd like to hear what came through. Please honor whatever they share. If they may feel full, they may not, just the message came through you. Much for participating in that. I'm also going to put a link in the chat for we do a draw for a session for your choice from the panel about after you request where you do these lecture line. And we're also going to have started. Valerie.
All right. So let's learn one for you. I got so excited, and I got whole of excited reading your books. Even closer. Grandmother's bones from place to return lays down. That isn't powerful. From the I ask if we and anymore. Mother tells me, forgive, survive and losing. So hearts can crack deeper and deeper like stones in a sweat lodge. Glowing red. Cold water striking their flesh. Their hearts burst, offering the way to let go and fall home again. Every prayer should end in again. The soft ash on my fingertips again. May I remember to look deep into the night sky again. May I sing and write poems and light sage in the mornings again. May I remember myself whole again. May I say thank you even before please. May I wake up knowing. May I seed my bright path from end to beginning. May I remember the magic in everything again. And if I may say one more thing, my power word is remember. And I like to break apart words, and I think of, so when you, sometimes I would wake up in the morning and be in a really good mood, be laying in bed, wake up really happy, and then I would say, oh wait, I was upset about something last night. Oh yeah, and then I just get really depressed, really upset. And it's a way of remembering, and so I found that I can turn my mind in a different way and remember myself different. But I like that I like to think of remembering as like the way you put yourself together, like put your arms on, put your legs on, like you're remembering. And we have a choice of how we want to keep remembering ourselves. And what a beautiful term for soul retrieval. What a more beautiful term, but remembering. So thank you for receiving my poem.
Thank you so much, Valerie. Oh, all right. We've got a first question in line. It is Laura. Laura, great. Let's bring her up to the front.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can. All right.
So I don't have a strong question, so I'll try to give you a little information surrounding what I think I'm going to ask. I was raised on a sailboat and also worked with abused horses all my life. So I'm very tuned in to nature and animals, and most all my careers and jobs and hobbies, I'm always immersed in the wilderness. Confident in calling myself a nature guide. I've really been careful not to use the term shaman for the reasons you brought up tonight, that I didn't want to be taking on something and misrepresenting it, since I haven't been officially trained. However, from tips from your lecture, all this in formats where the elements and then the animal as well. And interested why when I was water, that was my, then I paid attention because I've had realization was a different guy in life, and years and I opened to check on people take their kids. I have children now and it appears I have comes down to based and had seen phenomenal results with how they're connected sensory systems. And what I'm realizing is things work, and also my fucking two worlds. A problem for me is the online, the certificate, the logistics of insurance, and all this other stuff to do what I'm doing. And so I'm really curious as how to strengthen that side so that the reputation is credible in a way that doesn't cause issues. As that's not my strong suit. I'm just usually in the woods, and so I'm sort of blocked in this sort of the business side of things, the terminology, because I've not been trained. I just have a gift to share. So I'm curious if there's any guidance in how you might have gone about realizing you had this calling and you wanted to reach more people with it, but maybe you had some obstacles that are more in paperwork land or online land, and maybe what you suggest, I guess, is my question for that.
That's great. And if they have particular insight about you and your path.
Sure. Yes, open to it all.
Great, thank you. And Wyatt, Lars, the person whom I asked you a question the other day.
I am the wind.
That got us started, which got us to this panel with Wyatt. All right, so it looks like I can't see the order. We've got Hannah and then Wyatt and then Susy. Go ahead, Hannah.
Okay, so the first card I drew for you, and then I'll share my experiences with you, because I feel like the path that got me here will be very similar. So it was actually the lower world is the card for you.
Okay.
And so the essence of the lower world, for those who aren't as familiar, I'm going to go ahead and read out the full description for you guys. The lower world holds the hidden treasures of humanity. It is a place of rich and fruitful darkness where we can find the disowned parts of ourselves and the abandoned aspects of our psyches. The lower world is the place of our ancestors where we discover the gifts and lessons from the past. It is the realm of the collective unconscious. Here we can meet our demons and transform them into pure energy, our source of personal power. And the card was upside down for you, so the message is in the medicine. Are you one of those people who do not like to face the past? Now the past is calling to be acknowledged, to be heard, and to be embraced. The only way to become unstuck is to honor everything that has transpired in your life, reflect on the lessons you've learned, and move on. You bear witness to your past and learn its lessons, it will stop haunting you. As you embrace its gift, you will recover a missing part of your soul. Not so subtly saying you already know the answer that you want and the terminology that you want to use for yourself. And it could be doing some past life meditations also and calling on that innate knowledge that you've already had. But to answer the practical part of your question, my first certification that I took scared me silly about using any sort of medical terminology on my website. I just now started calling myself a medical intuitive because I was so worried for the last several years that I was going to get sued if I used a medical term.
Yeah.
So I use long sentences to describe myself and my work. And when just last week it finally clicked, I'm like, there is a 2-word description I can use that says what I do. And I wouldn't even let myself hear it before. And so, yes, there's very shamanistic experiences in what I do. But for me, the term that fits me, that I want to be known by, is medical intuitive.
Mhm.
So what is it that your heart and soul actually wants to embrace?
Mhm.
How do you describe you?
Nature guide.
There you go. And I do want to say to you what I felt when you were describing leading all the children to the forest. You are doing soul retrieval every time you do that.
Oh yeah.
Every
yeah.
time you're guiding each of those children, you're also guiding parts of you back to you.
Mhm.
So I will let, there's two other wonderful people that want to contribute. So I'll let them have the floor now.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah.
You're welcome.
Right. Wyatt.
So I'm also being called to do a wind whistle. So it might be a little bit longer. So if Susy wants to go first. No? Okay. All right. So Laura, yeah. So first of all, starting off with the winds, because I'll get to my experiences in 2 seconds that relate. But this book, Winds of Spirit by Renee Baribeau, highly recommend.
All right.
And Renee Baribeau is the wind shaman that I recommend that you take a few classes with.
Okay.
She's amazing. Let her know I sent you.
All right.
It'll be great. She's also very intense, mind you. So just be warned. As far as getting certifications, shamanism is an you don't need a piece of paper on the wall to tell you you're a shaman.
Mhm.
So all the teachers that I went to don't give out certificates. Like that's just not what they do. I went out to not went out. I lived in Colorado but before moving to Oregon. And so my shaman, why are words hard? My teachers were in Colorado and I took courses through them before moving to Oregon. And before they retired and everything, it was very fun. They have a yurt and everything. And they basically said, we do not hand out certificates because we can teach you how to journey. And then from there, the spirits can teach you everything you need to know. You don't need us. But, you know, for the logical side of the brain and whatnot, it helps. And when you're writing on the internet, having done certain courses, it makes you more credible.
Yeah.
But you don't need a certificate. So going and finding a shamanic teacher will definitely help in this calling of yours.
Mhm.
And also know the call is going to be different for everyone else.
Mhm.
The shaman's call for me was literally dying. So you don't need to die to be called to a shaman anymore, at least. That paradigm has shifted a long time ago. So just if you're feeling the shaman's call and you want to call yourself a nature guide, that's perfectly fine. No issue with that. And now it is time for the card because I've run out of things to say. While I am pulling a card, I'd like you to think of a cardinal direction.
Okay.
Okay. Was it north?
No.
No. Cool. I drew north. That's not the card that was supposed to happen. Anyway, it's fine. So what was your direction?
It's the hard path though. East.
East. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. I can run with that. So the two cards that I got and your direction that you chose. So east is the direction of beginnings.
Mhm.
When you are in the east, it is the spring wind. It is ripping everything to shreds. The spring winds are very rambunctious, very playful, yet they rip everything down. They're very strong. This deals with the memories. So this is the mind, the memories, the mind, mental, body. I pulled North as this first card, and North, or the Wind Boreas, is about spirit and community. I'm kind of taking this that you are moving from this spiritual place into a new beginning. You're moving from this bitter, cold wind that is keeping you inside into this springtime wind that is pushing you outside, quite literally.
Yeah, I'm trying to reach more people, so that fits very well.
Oh, yeah. And I also understand with that statement, North is also the wind of community. So you're trying to build that community as well. The wind god / goddess that I pulled is Yaponcha. Well, you're not going to be able to read that, but Yaponcha is the Hopi wind goddess. And she's a goddess of moderation, and it's about adjusting and compensating and being able to go with the flow, kind of like with the moon and the tides, being able to move as you need. In this Eastern thing, look to the memories that you have and what is drawing you back. Look at the community that you have built currently, and are they anchoring you, and do you need to not have that anchor, or is this maybe an anchor that you can set and you need to have a second anchor to be able to stay on track?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of this incoming compensating and adjusting, course correction, being able to, as you recourse towards the stars, following your inner guide, look at yourself and be aware that this is no one path. Be aware that this is going to be a lot of course correction. And I'm going to blow it in for you. So you get a whistle. And this is going to be my very roaring whistle, so it's going to be fun. Okay, so Laura and anyone else who wants to bring in this wind into their life, I'd like you to, not right now, but when I say breathe out and stay empty, I want you to blow everything out of your lungs, absolutely everything, until it feels like you're winded. And then we're going to sit there for a few seconds, and this is our place of power. When we are empty, we are able to clearly think. And then when I blow the whistle, I want you to breathe it in, and this is you accepting this wind. And breathe it in until you are completely full. So take a few deep breaths, preparing your body in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose and out through the mouth. All right, and one more in through the nose, and empty yourself. And hold it there. This is your place of power. Think clearly. Understand that Yaponcha is coming in to help you. And breathe in. And release. And that is it for me.
I had one more question for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, if it's okay with everyone else, yeah.
Well, I think what I'm realizing, maybe the question is like to go about in a way of honoring and giving credit to where the shamanism also needs to be acknowledged. And that's where I think I've had kind of this confusion around what I'm doing, and then not necessarily getting the certificate. So it's not the certificate, it's like how to properly give honor and credit. And so especially with a lot of the language I use is with the colors of direction and the wind. And there's so many tribes that pick the colors differently. and I'm nervous, and my block is like not being native by blood, like how I'm going to represent sacred winds as my offering, and finding your direction as kind of the key component of the work I do, with also crediting the source. And that's where I get a little confused without having, you know, proper or official whatever training, that I can do that in an honoring way. So I know I talked to Laureli about talking to the nearby tribes and just seeing how they would like to be honored and who to give that credit to. And as they come to this group here, and hearing from Valerie and also you, that the shamanism also is credit to the Norse and to other places, that's helpful to know, because I guess I was under the assumption it was just a Native American tag word, or whatever you want to call it, or language, that I think I'll just need to learn more about to be able to share honoring to it, I guess. If that helps.
And Val has her hand raised too. She'll probably answer a little bit of this as well. But colors associated with the directions is not just purely Native American. You can find that in almost every culture around the world. There's a color and an animal usually associated with these. Needs to be initial ceremony. Just kind of, if you're working about the wind, thinking about the wind, wind is given to everyone around the world. This is just a pouch of 32 different winds, but there's over 130 that have been counted by Renee so far across the world. Aztec, Mayan, Norse, Native American, several different tribes of Native America. It's the wind is the wind. So as long as you're giving specific ceremonies the honor, and like using sage, that is an honor. If you want to use tree, use thing more code, but it's, you know, it's all about you. Your spiritual practice and shamanism is who you are. It's what you develop over time. It's what a lot of different religions don't like us picking and choosing, but that's precisely what spirituality is picking and choosing what rings true for you.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Wyatt. Everyone, I know we're taking a little more time right now. I don't yet have any other questions in line as far as I know. And yeah, let's keep going. Susy and then Valerie.
Lorelei, boy. Okay, Laura, you know, so many things have been said so much, so I'm making notes. So I'm going to try and do this in some sort of, it's just going to happen. First off, for me, appropriation happens when you claim to be that person, when you claim to be that culture. Okay. I work very hard. It's kind of like a bibliography, if you will, that footnote on, not footnote, but that bibliography. You're making references to these different things. So I refer to a lot of other practitioners I've learned from, and there are cultures that we learn from. So you are not claiming to be tribal or indigenous, and this is you, not like that guy who did the environmental commercials like in the 70s. So, and that's probably a real geezer reference. But what I see with you is that you are walking the different realms. And I feel that as practitioners, as shamans, that is what we do. We have to navigate not only in the physical realm so people can see us and keep up with us. We also have to navigate, we are also navigating in the spiritual realm. And I understand that there are some people who prefer one over the other. And that's where that legalese gets in the way. As for certifications, no. I pretty much have a feeling of who cares? And I believe it was Wyatt who said it's just about getting credibility. Well, if what you were doing is not credible or is useless, people are going to see that in spite of having a paper on a wall somewhere. You are learning your experience. And I was able to tap into a past life in which, okay, let me take care of the present. You've got a lot of experience in your current life that informs it. You are not one of those who's going to go out and just say, oh, here, I'm just going to set up this sweat lodge and we're all going to do it. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you die? Oops. I mean, that truly happened like in the 90s. People were just setting them up to make money. Okay. So this past life I found was someone who called themselves, it's not going to be a cool word now, but he called himself an Indian tracker. He was a white guy who claimed he had lived with them. And then he was just doing it for the money. He was doing it to exploit people. And that's one of the lives that's coming forward saying, oh, you can do this, you can do that. But Laura, as we see her now, is saying, no, I am doing this because this is important. This is what means, it means something for me. And it has a very deep spiritual significance for you. So like for all of these shamans in your spiritual heritage, and we're all joining together here to create a more visible shaman community, you are pulling on those and telling this guy, what was his name? Luke. He was French Canadian, and he just said he knew all the things, and he was just out. He was not a pleasant person. So you can cut that loose.
Okay.
Here, Luke, take that energy back. This is not what we are about in this moment. Thank you, Val, for wafting him away. I very much appreciate that. But he can go and take his energy, and you can reclaim your spiritual integrity from him, and he can be let off. Okay, so that tie is cut. You have a focus. Your dream is to help people reclaim themselves, their hearts. There is a heart in the forest that you know about and that you have touched many times. That is one of those, it's one of these experiences you've had. Yeah, in all of the elements that you have been living with, the wind, the water, earth, fire's going to come along, but you're going to be able to use that as a tool to help people. You're going to help them relight their passion and rekindle that connection they have. There may be some legal things to worry about. Okay, it's just paper, it's just an element, it's water in the ink on paper, which has come from the ground. Okay, and you were feeding somebody else's fire. This isn't yours. But I would like you to be aware of not blowing it out of proportion. Yeah, you're going to need to do some stuff because there are some useful things to having a business. Yeah, it can be a pain in the ass. And yeah, but this is your business. This is your mission. And this is what you were doing. And to call yourself a shaman, I am learning even tonight that it's okay. We are all bringers together of everyone's stories, and you're bringing the story of Earth to people who otherwise would not have it. And so those past lives who would want to exploit the planet, they can go off with Luke and do their thing. I got to check my notes to see what else I'm in. Legal things, yeah. So your dream for this, you know what that is. You've spoken it. And that's okay. The universe is going to come together. Source is coming together to help you make that happen. Who knows? You may have somebody walk up and say, you know, I can help you with this. You've said it. You've expressed it. Lorelai's a great networking person. Oh my God, we all know that. Somebody's going to come along who can help you with that. And so tapping in, keeping your foot in the physical is good, but you also are blessed to be able to keep a foot in the spiritual and help bring people together. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that was really helpful. I like the way you attach the idea of the elements being the pen and the paper. That makes me maybe like them a little more.
Well, it's certainly going to shift that energy for you.
But I kind of want to burn them.
You can burn right through them as you fill them out and send them out. That's my story. Yeah. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Good luck. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
it's all like the have-tos to be legit. It messes me up. I want to delegate to somebody else and just stay out there with the people.
So language is important. Kick out legit. You are legitimate in what you do.
Yeah.
As a
Through
spiritual
that
healer,
other lens is what I mean, where it's like, oh,
yeah. But see, as long as
Yeah.
you focus on yourself being legit, everything's going to be fine. You're
Yeah.
going to do what you need to get the job done, so you can help everybody else, to help these kids.
yeah.
That's important, because it's the children who are the sprouts who are bringing us forward to another paradigm.
Yeah. Thank you, Susie.
Sure. Thank you, Laura.
I'm going to drop in just one little thing before Valerie and Sadie go. I hear you say these stories that you don't like or aren't good at, blah, blah. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
You say it is like you're not good at. Every question that I've asked you and different things I've brought up, you actually already know the answers.
You mean the digital stuff?
I've asked you like digital things and legal things and like you know answers.
Oh, I don't know what I've answered for you that's been digital, but I guess like I'm just not very technology savvy. I can learn, but it doesn't come naturally to me at all. It's like foreign gibberish. Like my
Yeah.
phone's 10 years old, and I'm just behind the times a bit with that stuff. But I can make fire with my hands, so I just feel like my strong suit is in survival skills, and survival skills in the online world is foreign to me. I don't know how to survive in there, but
And I just experience your work as being very powerful. And I totally agree about finding a partner to support you in some of that. And you won't need
Yeah.
as much as you think you do.
well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'd like to delegate the online portion out.
Yep.
Away.
All right. So
Thank you.
you're welcome, Valerie and Sadie.
So delegating is an act of power.
Yes.
I'm going to read a little bit of it just popped up. Your Sexuality raised her hand, and I thought, well done.
Oh.
That's what my chat said. I'm going to read a little piece of a poem called Appropriate.
Okay.
Can a person steal an utterance, a way of touching the earth? The awe of gazing up into the Pleiades, or falling to one's knees to weep. How can one borrow a bell, vibrating ribs, encasing a heart, another call to prayer? Why should the nostrils that inhale chrysanthemums of lit sage, the liturgy of frankincense, or a wand of Nag Champa turn away if they did not first absorb it on grandfather's breath? Who are the chosen ones? Margins drawn on maps. Which tree or bird or stone gets to speak? This world is not quiet to those who have the privilege to hear, to respond, to honor this fabric of belonging. So it's just an excerpt out of one of my poems, because I've written about this quite a bit, appropriation. And it's true, if you look, breathe in sage and your whole body just shifts. How can that be an appropriation? That's using a tool. That's allowing things to work for us. And I've always believed that direct experience is the absolute highest authority. There's nothing greater than that. I see you deeply connected to the trees. I love that. I love the irony of being raised on a sailboat, needing to spend your time in the woods, your home in the woods. I also wanted to name, not necessarily to you, but to everybody listening, that in Western shamanism, we speak a lot about the upper world, middle world, and lower world, and none of them are negative or positive. They just are. They're places where a lot of us work. And because I know that sometimes lower world can have a connotation like hell or death, but it's really not like that. And it really is more of a Western construct that a lot of us were taught here. So I just wanted to add that. And I wanted to say that I died too, Wyatt, a few times and came back. And that seemed to be a shamanic initiation for me. And Laura, I get a sense maybe you've been through kind of some deep initiations throughout your life. And I think that also cracks us more into living between those worlds, like Wyatt spoke about, and having more ability to hear and sense other beings. I'm kind of echoing what some other people have said, but to not try to be cultural, to go into your direct experience. I also want to say that there's a deep difference between ritual and ceremony. And ritual means doing things that the way it's been done over and over again. It has a lot of power. The Catholic Church, the sweat lodges, ritual is very powerful. Ceremony means you're creating it fresh in the moment every time, or you create something new every time. Every minute is ceremony. And that's really powerful too. And so if you're trying to take a ritual the way other people have done it, then you may need to say, this is from these ancestors or these traditions. When you're in ceremony, you're going to find that this and this, and yes, this iPhone 13 or 11 can be part of ceremony. Like everything can heal everything at that point. And so you're creating it fresh and new. And in the shamanic world, you would ask the trees, you would ask the stones, the earth, the winds, how would you like me to be? How would you like me to do this? And then if you hear it, feel it, taste it, sense it, however you get that information back. And then I want to say something about, so two things. This teaching you want to bring forth, and the maybe authority you can retrieve into yourself. You can go on a journey. You can take a medicine walk into the woods. Say, I am going to go into the woods and I am going to ask that I have this way, this authority or this knowingness or this course come into me. And then take a medicine walk. And as you walk, pause and look around you and commune and let them teach you, let that come in. That's also shamanism. And there's one other thing I wanted to address is that, so I had been trained in Barbara Brennan's work and Silva and alchemical hypnotherapy and all these different trainings. And when I went to this, it's almost a 4-year healing school training, really deep, hard training, they said, well, you're already a healer, but we're going to give you discipline and tools, which were really, really great for me. I just had a set of protocols I could run through with people. And it immediately morphed into what it was going to be for me and how it was going to work for me. But it really helped to have that to rely on for me. And that did put certificates on my wall. And then but I always knew that there was something missing. And we learned a little soul retrieval. We learned a little extraction, but people were coming to me and saying, can you do this extraction? Can you do this cycle pump? I found myself walking people into death, which I didn't know was called cycle pump. I was thrilled to get that word.
So
My mother died. Psycho pump, like psychology, psycho, like a psychopath. Pump, P-O-M-P. Psycho pump means you walk people, you help them die. Plus you're working with spirits who may be trapped on the other side and not clearly through. And I was doing that when my mom died. I didn't even believe in gates. I opened the gates with my hands while she was absorbed into the light that was singing itself into this heavenly choir of angels. I mean, I was doing this stuff since a little kid. Well, when I went through a shamanic training in Colorado, Wyatt, where I live, it really helped me to be walked through. And just as Wyatt said, we would study something like cycle pump and what it means and what it is. And then we would journey to meet our guides that would be doing psychopomp with us. And then we would journey, and our guides would teach us how to do it. And then we would practice with each other. So the teachers never told us how to do anything. They told us what something was and helped us journey to find a guide, and then the guide taught us how. And so I got all these new guides, and I have my psychopomp guides and my soul retrieval and extraction. And I gotta tell you, the guides are kind of hilarious overall, except my extraction guide is very serious. But the rest of them are just, they just come and swim around me, and they're just hilarious. They're so much fun. They're so wonderful. And to formally get those tools made me feel really strong and really good. Like, okay, I can do this with a knowingness now that I can trust. So I only am sharing my experience with this. So.
Well, that really resonates with me, because just when you described the difference of ritual and ceremony, the light bulb went on. Like, I've been using the word ceremony, and so I feel really good that I didn't accidentally use the word ritual, but it's not for me because I'm confident what I was doing. It's to have a common language that is honoring, and that's what I think I'm trying to navigate now. Is I'm very confident and happy with the passion coming through, and the messages and the ideas and the voices and all of like what nature is asking me to do, especially interestingly enough around death and lower world stuff. So I'm very attuned to that through my own near death multiple times. But I really appreciate your sharing kind of how to have this sort of knowledge also for maybe not losing people in the description part when you're reaching more people on maybe a platform that is bigger, I think, because I usually explain these things just in my own energetic way, and I don't really have a term. And I'm just, from the short time I've been on here, I'm already all these terms that I can now go look up. This is very helpful. So I appreciate you sharing about sort of your path with that.
And Wyatt just dropped one of my teacher's books into the chat. The Book of Ceremony by Sandra Ingerman is really wonderful. The last thing I'll say is that when Susy told Luke to go take a hike, you lightened up, girlfriend. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's that conditioning that tells you have to be legal, gone, or delegated.
Hey, good luck, girlfriend.
Thank you, Valerie.
You're welcome.
Oh, all right, Saidi.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Saidi.
Hi. Wow, a lot of things came up through all this, and I had my thoughts a little more organized earlier, but now I don't know what's going to come out. One thing that jumped out for me through this discussion, and that I am looking at for myself now, is I think ego. You know, how important it is for us to be seen a certain way and understood and following the rules and fitting in. And I noticed myself, I get concerned about the words I'm using because I'm afraid of what people might think of me, you know? So I just kind of wanted to bring that into the conversation. I think it can be a real distraction. I'm recognizing and noticing in myself that it's a way for me to keep myself from doing what I'm doing, because my energy is pulled over here into, am I doing this right? What will people think of me? You know, judgment, criticism, all that kind of stuff, which is actually, if I'm just doing the work. Before I even knew about shamanism and what it was, I was just doing things and not worrying about what label I was putting on it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I started learning more about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing. I know I shared about that earlier, but I didn't have to worry about what it was. I was just working with guides. I was working with elements. I was working with the planets. I was working with, you know, healing practices. Now that I have some terminology, I've like gone into my ego and, oh my gosh, what will people think of me if I say this? On the flip side, having those words, people understand more what they are. You know, now we're talking about ceremony, psychopomp. It's like, okay, so there's terminology to help me understand and help other people know. It gives them a frame of reference. So this understanding and knowing and languaging and having constructs is such a human construct, you know. And when we're working with nature and these kinds of energies, it's not about how does it fit into a little, you know, logical, organized thing, and with a certificate and with you know, legal parameters, and I don't know, but there was some other things. Oh, I was contemplating what else came up for me was I just got my master's degree recently, and I'm just having written so many academic papers and having to cite like every freaking thing I was writing. You know, you have to cite, you have to do citations for like every other sentence. You know, it's just like, where is the original idea coming from? And it's just like, I mean, it's such a bizarre process because we have thoughts, we have experiences, they build upon our past, they build upon everything that we've picked up from all over the place. If I was to stop and cite every single thing, I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just a really bizarre experience and way to work with things. For I know that's the rules, and I followed the rules so I could get my degree, so I could have the certificate, you know, the big certificate to play the game. But so I would be more credible, yeah, so people would listen to me, which is I don't know, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I mean, I'm saying things, but I don't know. Just
I feel what you're saying. That's what I've been struggling with, is because in my way, in my world, I don't tell the kid the name of the tree, even because they quit asking questions about the tree. We touch the tree, we feel the tree. What does the tree say to you? What is the leaves like? I don't say it's a cedar, because as soon as I do that, you're done learning about it in our culture, because you got the word and then you're out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what all of this is. It's just worrying about what it looks like, what label it has, where do we place it, what's the context. It's like, no, it's just, this is nature, this is the earth that we are born onto. Like it doesn't belong to anybody. It's you know, these things, our spirituality is so, I mean, I'm really passionate about helping people to find their own spirituality, or the religious religions that we've grown up to that are just so structured, and like you have to honor, you have to pray this way, you have to worship this way, you have to do this, or you're going to be punished and go to hell. You know, like, what the hell is that? Like, so it's really picking that apart, even if we didn't, you know.
That was pretty awesome though, really. So
what
I said, I just tell my kids, let's go to hell and make it, it's great.
Right, yeah,
we're in it. It's as good as it gets right now. Like,
can be but yeah, so really picking that apart, and not I'm such a rule breaker, you know. It's hard for me to follow these structures, but we do live in this society, and so we have to follow to some degree, you know. But anyway, so those are my thoughts. Yeah, rebels unite, exactly, right, Lisa? So yeah, that's what came up for me. Just follow your heart, you know, and try to let go of some of the, you know, worrying too much about what it looks like. You know, it seems like you're doing a great job, and you're doing a lot of amazing stuff. So that's what matters in the end, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. I know we did this nice, big, thorough answer. Hopefully it sounds like lots of learning for lots of people with this one. Anyone have anything else left they want to share with Laura before we see what's next? All right, great. Thank you.
I just want to thank you all for not fitting in a box, because I am now feeling great that I've met other people that don't want to be in a box. That's already giving me hope. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I guess Laura, the thing would be, what would have to show up? What would have to be flowing for you to feel comfortable delegating? For you to feel ease delegating? For you to feel ease choosing someone that really can help you sort out what you do want and don't want around all that? Yeah, so this is a question to take with you. All right, thank you. Oh. All right. I feel like I did not do my job really in sharing the great value that this is tonight. We don't have as many people here. I don't think we have another question in line. Does anyone here? Does anyone have a question that just has paid and I have not noticed, or that wants to pay to ask a question tonight? Maybe my internet is cooperating more now too. Yeah, Laura's energy is infectious. I completely agree. Yeah. Yeah, Laura, you spoke about wanting to work with adults too, and not just kids. I think I know I can easily fill you with people that want to do stuff. That was part of my question. What would you need so you could delegate? All right. She's laughing. Oh gosh. Yeah, so Laura's going to be in our training panel on Wednesday, everyone. So if you want to ask Laura a question, that's going to be your opportunity. All right. Yeah, I think we don't have anyone in line. I know Daniel had more of a general topic that we could talk about. If Daniel, do you want to just jump up and see about asking your question? We'll see if we can evolve your question together. And if someone does have a question, they want to pay to ask a question of the panel, we will change course. Daniel is also one of our practitioners, not tonight.
Sure, though I'm a little reluctant. I don't want this to be a question I'm asking. It's more for all of us to consider and see what's said. So I don't want to put myself in the spotlight where people are directing their answers to me. That doesn't feel quite my spirit. So it occurs to me that the directions are very important. And almost like pick any culture, there's a lot of deep meaning in the directions. And I hear it a lot with, here's what East can carry, here's what West, North and South. And then I realized, wait a minute, how about Southern Hemisphere? North and South will be different. Like, what do we do with that? Is it just reversed, or is it, it kind of, it's a whole globe, not just a Northern Hemisphere. And I wonder if people have thoughts to share about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Wyatt.
It's kind of interesting that you bring up the directions, because even within the wind work and astrology and this and that, you find directions everywhere. Guardians of the gates of the certain directions. But it's also kind of fun that you bring up the Southern Hemisphere. As far as I know, the directions gain such importance because of one of two things, and someone can add on because I would be more than happy to learn more as well. The winds or the stars. The stars for navigation, because you have to find out where you're going, and the winds are the fuel for where you're going if you're in a ship. And those are, celestial north is, as far as we know, the truest north that you can get as of right now with the North Star. Until you add in our wobble, but with those, it's kind of branches out into understanding, or bringing understanding spiritually and for ourselves, and how we are anchored and tied to this world. Adding spiritual significance to those cardinal directions also help us navigate the spiritual worlds. The pyramids were set to, I think they were set north, and then set to the stars of Orion's belt. But then when you have these directions, you're able to help navigate or help align your spiritual axis to understand where you're going spiritually. So if you need a little bit more help in understanding whatever north is to you and your culture, you can start to read those signs from the natural world around you when spirit begins to talk, because
Yeah, hi Daniel. So in I was really pretty trained in calling directions for my women's drum circle that I found in Denver about 25 years ago. That was really life-changing for me. And what I found that it was very, I lost my train a minute. It was kind of Native American centered what these people were doing and goddess culture centered. And in my backyard, I built a Lakota medicine wheel, and I used actually Sun Bear. Sun Bear was a Lakota man who started the Rainbow Tribe because he believed that the Native American teachings should be open to all people now. It was very controversial. It upset a lot of people who wanted the teachings held closer and who felt that appropriation was happening, that here the white people came in and destroyed their, the native people's homes and way of life. And now suddenly, especially after the hippie culture, we all think they're cool and we want to pray like them. Like a lot of people got pissed off about that and didn't want to share some of the sacred knowledge. And so Sun Bear said, no, this knowledge is for all people. And if we don't start loving the earth, we're screwed. This earth is in deep trouble if we don't raise our children to love this place, and if we don't start loving this place. And so he wrote a lot about how to create a medicine wheel and how to do certain ceremony, which I learned a lot from. And the medicine wheel shows up again in most cultures around the world, have a version of medicine wheel. And I believe that that's where directions are found important, is in all these medicine wheels. You also find the labyrinth in many, many, many cultures. And I don't know if that has to do with direction or not. What I find in shamanism is that we pay more attention to elements, the wind, the water, fire. Oh, fire. Oh my gosh, I could kiss fire if it wouldn't burn my lips. I love fire so much. But the winds, the water, fire, earth. My best friend is an acupuncturist, so she adds in the metal and the wood. And so we would, in our shamanic trainings, and we would sing to the sun, we would sing the morning song, we would bless and call to the winds, we would really sing and greet the elements, but never the directions. So it's different traditions will find that differently. So to look at Peruvian or Andean medicine wheel and direction, I know that some of the animals connected with that, associated with that, some of the elements. Here I've been taught that the wind comes in on the east, which is birth, newness, springtime. One thing, the biggest thing I learned from medicine wheel, because I thought that, well, you start in the east, birth, newness, childhood, breath, wind, signified with the birds, the winged ones, the ones who travel the wind. And then as you would move into the maidenhood, your youth, and the fire energy and coyote energy, and there's from yellow to red. You can even say cultural, that the Chinese people would be in the east, and they gave us our first anatomy books. They gave us so much knowledge in the beginning of humanity, and so they get that color yellow, and the Chinese people get even connected into the east in this way. And then we go into the fire and your youth energy. And then a lot of people would have this as black in a lot of traditions, the west. The west is the waters. It's also connected to bear. It's our adulthood. it's also the evening of the day. So you have morning, afternoon, evening, and then the north is wintertime. It's white, white owl, white polar bear. Our wisdom people are gray and white hair. Um, and what I've learned by walking the wheel in my yard was that I don't stop at the north. I don't stop at leaving at death. I keep going around the circle. And then I realized, well, I'm going to go back into birth. Like, we're going to have the next day, the next idea, the next thought, the next song or poem, the healing, the next lifetime. I really learned that it keeps going. And then you have a very strong center. You have masculine, feminine aspects. I do know some shamanic teachers who put everything on the medicine wheel. Um, so I don't know if that helped at all, Daniel. But those are the things that I was prompted to share.
Thanks, Valerie. Go ahead, Sadie, and then after that, we've got a question with Mary G.
One of the first traditions I learned in was Kashmir Shaivism, which is a Hindu tantric tradition, and they have that's where I learned about the directions, and that's the only thing I had learned about it. And then I learned a different tradition and learned about the directions there, and everything was completely different. It was like, what do I do now? What the heck? And then other traditions I've learned, they use directions in a completely different way. So I've just had to really, go inside and what feels right to me. So I think with a lot of these things, we're going to get conflicting messages depending on where we're at, what we're learning, what's going on. So, just make it your own. I guess I don't remember what the question was, but that's what was coming up for me. I just had to kind of throw it all out the window and just go, oh, what does this mean for me? What do I feel when I'm facing this direction? What is up for me? So, and then, making it my own. So I guess that's that rule breaking thing again.
It's great. It's great. All right. Well, thank you so much. All right, Mary. All right, Mary's coming up here.
Hi, folks. So I guess my question is with the soul retrieval part. First off, thank you all so much for all the fabulous information tonight. It has been extremely, extremely interesting. I've just been sitting here just like taking it all in and feeling all the energy that you guys have had. It's awesome. But the soul retrieval part, I remember when somebody had said when their mother was passing, I kind of did the same thing. It was so weird. I mean, she lingered for basically about a week or so, and I was trying to figure out just exactly why and what was holding her back. I mean, I know when it's your time, but it wasn't scary because I knew what was happening and I knew she was going to be okay. But I guess it didn't happen quick enough, if that sounds crazy or not. I think it sounds crazy to me to say something like that. But it just kind of, I was confused, I guess is the best way for me to put it. So yeah, and for myself, for like just for the soul retrieval part, like where should I go with that? That's it. I don't know.
So you said, where should you go with the soul retrieval?
Yes.
And is it okay too if just what you shared about with your mother is really interesting. So
yes, no, that's fine. I'm good with that. It's been almost 2 years now that she's been gone, and I'm okay right now with that. So,
and it's more about you, and it's you in the process of her leaving. That's interesting to me. So,
right. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we'll see what people share. All right.
Thank you, Lorelei.
Oh, you're very welcome. Go ahead, Sadie.
Hi, Mary. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you again.
Same here.
I have a couple of questions. I'm a little curious. Are you interested in getting a soul retrieval? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not quite sure what that means, what it is.
Okay, cool. And that's the best place to start, like, because not everybody requires a soul retrieval. It's just, you might not need that at all. So I'd say that would be a good place to start if there's something you're feeling, if you're feeling called to it. I mean, I guess meeting with somebody and finding out more about that, it's beyond the scope of this experience right now, this gathering, to tell you whether you do or do not need to get a soul retrieval,
Right.
But experiences that can cause our soul to fragment are tend to be traumatic experiences, something that's real shocking that could cause ourselves to, part of our soul to leave because it needs to find safety, and that's how it does that. So yeah, I've checked, and not everybody needs a soul retrieval, so that's a good place to start. As far as your mother goes, did you have questions around that? I guess I wasn't following.
Well, I guess somebody had said to me, and I don't remember if it was at MeWe fairs or if it was at another one of the, I think I go to Circles of Wisdoms as well, which is up in the Boston area. That she, or maybe it was somebody that I was talking to on the phone at the time. I really seriously don't remember. But it was like she had more stuff that she had to go through before she could pass. That I was really confused. Like I said, I'm just confused, I guess is the best way for me to put it.
Well, yeah, I don't know enough details about that. Everybody dies the way they need to die, but oftentimes in our society, in our culture, we're not supported to die in a very healthy way, and there's often much left unfinished business, or just a lot that keeps our soul from being able to move on, in a healthy way. And that can be people that we're attached to here in this present, family issues that didn't get resolved, things, traumas from the past that didn't get resolved or healed can keep people stuck here, or not being able to, to go into the light, basically. So if she was having challenges, I mean, dying is such a personal thing. So who knows what she needed to go through at the end there. So, but there's ways to work with that if you feel that she, I don't know what other practitioners here do around that, but, it's easy enough to find out if she's still here and still having issues, like moving on fully to the other side. If she's having an impact on you, her energies are still here, still trapped here. There's ways that we can help her to move on and complete the process in a full way. So yeah, but that's something you would need to feel into, or if you're curious and concerned about it, you can ask and do. There's a lot of ways to support her to move on and to do more ritual or ceremony around that too, to support the process. So
okay.
I don't know if that answers your question. I'm not sure what the question was.
I'm not sure what my question is either. Like I said,
okay, good.
all
Cool.
the energy that's been going around, and I just had to open my mouth. That's all.
Cool.
So,
it's really important to do this work, because again, we do dying in a very unconscious way anymore, and so it's a great idea to meet with somebody that can support that process for you and to support a full passing for her. So yeah, there's a lot more I could say on that, but I'll just leave it at that. Let other people talk.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sadie. Go ahead, Wyatt, and then Susy.
So from what I'm understanding, the story that you had told us it sounds more like psychopomp work, like you did an unconscious psychopomp work. You were working with your mother's spirit, helping her to tie up a few loose strings before she had moved on. And that, in a way, is psychopomp work. You're not actively pumping them into the afterlife, but you're helping them to tie up the string so they can move on their own.
Right. Yeah, that's what I when you guys said that, I was like, oh, is that what I was doing? You know, like I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I was just there. I was her daughter being there to help her do whatever it was that she had to do. That's all.
Yeah, that's definitely psychopomp work. And maybe, maybe you are a natural psychopomp. There are those with that gift. And honestly, when I was doing my own training, shamanic training, psychopomp work was one of my favorite things to do. Being able to help souls who are trapped here, or maybe they don't know they're dead, to move forward into the next life. There's a lot of things that play into that. Sometimes the soul doesn't feel like they're worthy enough to move on into the light, or sometimes they don't know, or mass trauma with natural disasters. A lot of the people don't know, and they're sometimes grasping for help for a psychopomp. So if that's something you want to do, maybe reach out to a teacher to help you develop those skills a little bit more. Soul retrieval. I agree with Saidi, but maybe in a different way, that not everyone is ready for a soul retrieval, because we all have trauma and we all have experiences that maybe there's aspects of us that are ready to come back, and maybe we're not ready for those, like personally ready for those to come back. So in the realm, switching from psychopomp to soul retrieval, soul retrieval is actually pretty fun. It's kind of like doing psychopomp work, but for yourself, or for if you're doing it on a client, especially those that have lost limbs, you can do soul retrieval for the lost limbs so that they come back.
Okay.
So soul retrieval is quite expensive. And the only thing is, if you're performing a soul retrieval, that is where you have to make sure you have the right thing that you're putting back into the client. So it is one very imperative that you go to a shaman or practitioner who knows what they're doing when it comes to soul retrieval, because if the shaman puts something in you that does not belong to you or should not be in you, and it becomes very it could become very disastrous to you and your mental health and spiritual health. So making sure that you trust the person doing the healing for you. And two, if you do it on someone else, make sure you know that this is 100% certain belonging to the person. So soul retrieval is one of those things that can be harmful to your client, whereas extraction can be harmful to you. So there's different aspects on shamanism and the performances and ceremonies and rituals that you do that can be good for you and for your client, or could be very detrimental. So it's just arming yourself with the knowledge if you do pursue these paths. Again, I don't know what the question was. I'm just rambling at this point.
You're fine. I understand. I take it all in. Thank you.
Thanks, Wyatt. Susy, and then Valerie.
Okay, so they're talking about psychopomp, and now that we've assigned a word, now that there is a word given to it, my question to the practitioners that we can look at later is, how does that relate to mediumship? Because I was able to get to key in on your mom's spirit. Was this recently that she passed?
A year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago.
Okay. So as I tune into it, I mean, she had a lot of confusion, and she didn't feel like she was done yet. Like that moment just before the guests go, you go, oh my God, I forgot to add a room to the building, or, that sort of thing. So she kind of felt like she hadn't finished. And there was a bit of fear surrounding loneliness, that she wasn't going to be there. You had been there with her the whole time, supporting her in such a way. And she feels like, she's like, I'm going to miss you. And what I think she's not understanding at this point is that she can still be around you and that you
Okay.
still think of her. I mean, your question itself indicates that she's still a presence in your consciousness. So
Most
yeah.
definitely.
So and okay. So psychopomp and mediumship for the practitioners, and also can we use soul retrieval as in say I'm going to use you as an example, Mary. Could
Yeah.
your mom have been a part of your soul to retrieve? So
Okay.
these are the questions I'm asking practitioners because I'm making it up as I go, but that's what I don't know if that's a possibility. Psychopomp is a new idea for me. And so throw the group. I think that's all the useful information I have. Yeah, Mary.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you're welcome.
Hey, Valerie.
Susie, I mean, thanks everybody. Hi,
Hey, Valerie, how are you?
it's so good to see you again. It took just it was like we felt like moms hadn't crossed on her. Checked in on her. I don't guess I have this retreat. We more finding parts of you here for many. I'm really curious if you this time
No.
because I see that it's a little lighter, but what I felt before was that there were your sister.
Yeah.
So you're heavily your dad, your mom, parts of this, parts of that, parts of you listening to a lot of other people, this and that, and I still, oh girlfriend, as soon as I saw you, I wanted to laugh again because your dad makes me laugh, and I see him with you. I so am gonna plead with you to do your homework. And if you came to me as a client and we did a session, how it would end is I would give you 1 or 2 pieces of homework. We always end in homework. And so the homework is for you then to be your authority and your communing with your spirit and to show up for yourself and your home. And so I'm going to remind you of your homework. And it was on February 2nd, maybe. It was on the Chinese New Year, I believe. But your homework was to get out an old pan, pots and pans, and a wooden spoon and bang on it and sing as loud as you can and laugh like a crazy woman through all the corners of your house, starting with your living room. You could go into circles all through your house and even around your house. Maybe get a favorite drink or something, water, anything, and sprinkle it, pour it all around your house. And then maybe bring a plant in or see something green growing outside. This is really important for you, my sister Mary, who makes me laugh. This is so important for you to call your soul home and to let everybody else go home. You're going to let your dad, mom, and everybody know you're okay. There's things kind of collecting around that then, whew, time to clear it, girlfriend. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to check up on you again.
I know you will. And you know what? Tomorrow I'm still off again. I'm going to do it.
Woo! I can't wait. That makes me so happy because it's going to be, you're just made for this. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for your reminding.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so Lisa's teasing photos or it didn't happen. And Wyatt shared one of my favorite ways to clear and rejuvenate the household is to be loud and make noise like that. Great.
I will do that tomorrow. I'm not gonna video myself though. I promise.
You don't have to send me MeWe photos. It's all right. We'll know.
No.
When you come next
You'll-
time, you'll know.
There you go. There you go. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary. All right, we've got Kiki up next.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so I guess.
Oh, you've just muted yourself. And do you want to be up in the spotlight? It's up to you. If you do, turn on your video. You got muted somehow, so we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you again, yeah. Do you want to, oh, you just got muted again. Whoop, back and forth. Oops. We can't hear you now.
Okay, I'm muted. I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
We can. You don't have to turn on your video, but if you
Okay.
want to, we'll pull you up here for spotlight. All right, great.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Okay. Okay.
Great.
All right, I'm here. I was lounging, so I think I don't know. I really learned a lot the past 2 days with the panel last night and then listening today. I had a situation actually some time ago where I want to know if this is a thing to do like a shamanic meditation. Because this is what I did, and I had an incident at the end where, as I was coming back, there was like a headdress placed on my head, and as soon as it happened, I was already, called back, and but I just got really emotional over it, but I don't know if anyone's ever experienced that with anyone having meditation or having maybe an initiation, if that would be an initiation. Uh-oh. Hello? What happened?
Yeah, we got it. We heard you.
Hello? Oh,
We're here.
Oh.
I'm waiting to pick somebody for you.
Yeah, we've got Wyatt and then
Oh,
Hannah and
so
then
glad.
Valerie.
Okay.
So all the others maybe tune in with me, but I'm not getting that it was an initiation, more of a gift and a remembering. The headdress itself has a lot of spiritual importance, as we know with our indigenous tribes here in Turtle Island in America. The headdress is very significant. The chief, and I don't know much more, so I'm not going to speak more, but very very ceremonial. And then if you go down to South America, almost everyone has a headdress, and that is of their own creation and their own importance and who they are, made with many feathers, many different birds, very colorful down in South America. I love them. So this headdress could be a remembering and a representation of you and your power and who you are. And maybe that was placed upon you for your spirits to help you remember, to help guide you towards those memories. This wasn't a dismemberment journey, was it?
No.
Okay. I'm not gonna say good. I love dismemberment journeys personally. Like, tear me apart. I'm great. It's probably a gift.
Okay. Yeah, because it just to cry after that, it was just I was kind of shocked, but like I don't know, like honored that had happened. So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely. And when we come in contact with ourselves and we feel healed and whole again, crying is definitely okay. Crying is okay anyway.
Yeah.
I've been crying this past week like every day. It's fine. It's healing. It's cathartic.
Absolutely.
Do it. Highly recommended. But yeah, I mean, gifts from the spirits can range. I mean, I've been bitten by my snake spirits so many times I can't even count, and that itself is a healing thing. Valerie knows. Yeah. But yeah, so gifts like that it can range. So just be aware that if you're bitten by a snake, but it's not baring its teeth at you, that's probably a gift. If it's a headdress just placed upon you, or your heart was replaced with a ruby of some kind, these are gifts and things that are meant to help us become more in tune with ourselves and who we are and how we need to go about continuing with our lives to be true to ourselves.
Right.
So
Thank you. And just real quick, did you never mind, go ahead. We could go to the next person. I'll ask at the end.
okay.
Thanks, Hannah and Valerie.
Hi again, Kiki. So I drew two cards. Two cards actually came out for you. And, there's the very alignment. So the first one is the owl. And have you been seeing owls?
I've been seeing those. Yeah. I did see one just the other day and I really didn't pay no attention, but go ahead.
Yeah. So the owl can bring you messages from the invisible world. She opens your ears so that you can hear the voices of your ancestors, so you can acquire their wisdom and make it your own. So I feel like that's a very important part of the gift that was being bestowed on you, is that wisdom, if you want to pursue that avenue based on, some of the stuff we talked about last time I saw you.
Yeah.
The other important part is, don't be afraid of the truth, as it will become your compass. And so what I feel like is, you might not have seen clearly on what this gift was because you're afraid of what it means or what it might mean about you. So kind of feeling into that fear. Is there a fear in this past life or in the ancestors where you've been persecuted for these gifts before? So just kind of feeling into the energy of that so that you can make the space within your energy to receive these gifts more fully. The other card was the hunter. So the hunter is a master tractor, knows which path to follow to find success. But this card was upside down, so it's the medicine. Don't settle for the roadkill, it could be your poison. Remember not to want more than you need, so you're not guided by unbridled ambition. And it's okay to come home empty-handed. And that doesn't mean that you can't have a place of overflow, but it's very much the energy of making sure that there's a home for everything that you're wanting to call in. So if you wanted $1 million, that's not greed. If you are saying, well, by having more money and more abundance in the hearts and hands and lives of amazing people like that are here, that are connected to the earth, how much more good could you do with that? How much more good could come to the world if heart-centered people had millions of dollars coming to them? So shift how you're thinking about what you want to call in and what those false stories are that you're telling yourself about your desires, about the path that you want to be on. And just write out whatever you're calling in, like especially with money, just write out what you're going to put where. It can be as simple as, if I win the lottery, does 30% automatically go to social or to causes that you care about, right? The more money you have, the more good you can do. So those are the cards that came up. I'll let the next person answer, unless you've got a question for me about what I just said.
No, you just, sometimes after yesterday, I just think you're in my head a lot. So can you get out?
Okay, I'm out.
So,
for now. Until next time.
Okay. All right. I love it though. Thank you. Thank you.
It's great. Valerie's next.
Hi, Kiki.
Hi, Valerie.
So when I hear you, I'm very excited that you took a guided journey, that you're taking guided journeys. Way to go. And I have this desire when I check in with you and drop in, all I want is to see you just take this moment, if you're willing. You may want to do it when you're not on here, but if you're willing to take this moment and feel that headdress come back onto you. and what that feeling is, what that is true.
Mhm.
And to make it your own. You can see who it's coming to you from. You can offer a thank you with your breath or with a strand of hair or whatever feels right, even your open hands. Let that move through your whole being. And I want to say home to you. Home, home, home. That it's real.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
got to feel a little bit. It was really beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That in shamanism, you and your guides are always the ultimate authority. It's almost like having dreams, and you can read all these dream books and ask people to interpret these dreams. And really, it always comes back to you. What's right for you, always. So one thing I love about shamanism is that probably one of my favorite things is, and I've said this before, that I know a lot. I am 67 years old and I've studied most of my life. I'm a scholar. I love to study. I've been through lots of healing schools, and I've been a leather working artisan for 50 years. I'm a musician. I've done years and years and years of poetry training. I've studied nutrition. I know a lot. When a client comes in, I can share that knowledge and it's good. But then we go into the shamanic journey, and it's nothing my mind could come up with. It is like not remotely anything I could know. It's always like mind blowing. It is so much fun. And I love that. I love not having to be the authority and not having to know. And that's the gift. Oh my God, they put this headdress on me. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Own it, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Valerie. Saidi.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say. You know, what does it mean to you? What does it feel like to you? I think so quickly we're in this society really quick to like look outside for the authority and you know, run to the internet to see what does something mean, going to the books, like what does this mean? And I do this myself. And I have to like I have a dream and there's an animal in there. It's like, oh, what does that mean? It's just like, no,
Yeah.
go into it. What does it mean for me? What was the emotion behind it? What did it feel like? You know, and sometimes I mean, I certainly get a lot of wisdom when I read about different archetypes. You know, and I think that's helpful too. But I think before we do that, to really take some time with ourselves and go into our hearts and what that means. Another great way is to journal about it, you know, journal about your experience, because such richness can come out of that. You know, we can really bypass our logical thinking brain and get down into our hearts a lot more and our soul when we're writing. So that would be a great way. And you know, and channel your guides, you know, are open to the wisdom coming through. That's a great way for channeling. I think I mentioned that in a different panel or fair. You know, like what do my guides have to tell me today, you know, and just write and see what comes through. Or you know, talk to the headdress maybe, you know, and see what it has to say to you. Yeah, to take it further, you know, to go deeper into it. So thanks for your question. And thanks for sharing that. That's just such a gorgeous image. I just was like so moved to learn about that. So thank you. And thank you. That's beautiful. I'm sure it was, yeah, wonderfully moving.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. And then it seemed like you had some other question you wanted to ask Wyatt. Is that still here? Still alive?
Yeah, it was just about the the medicine wheel, like how is that really strongly important to know about the medicine wheel when doing this work? Because I kind of feel a little bit that it may be.
So that was actually Valerie that was talking about that, I believe. But no,
Oh, okay,
you
okay.
don't have to know the medicine wheel. It's just another aspect of spirituality that you can learn and you can have in your arsenal if you so need it or so desire to use it. But nothing is absolutely necessary in your own practice.
Mhm.
So just
Okay.
take that
Yeah,
how you will.
yeah, I'm actually, Lorelei, thank you so much for this. I've needed um a space or just people to talk to about this, and it's done so much within the past 2 days. So thank you for having this, and we should definitely have this again. But yeah, this is just very insightful, very insightful. So I know I had a question there, but I tend to have a lot of brain fart, so I just go ahead.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, and Valerie, if you wanted to say anything about that, and Sadie may have something else too. And we have one more question after this. Go ahead.
Well, pretty much what Wyatt said. Yeah, nothing's, if you're really drawn to say, oh, I want to learn the medicine wheel, that seems important to me, then there's a lot you can find out about that. And it's not really a shamanically, I was going to say cultural, but shamanism is from everywhere. But it's not, I don't know that, well, actually, that's not true. Some teachers in Santa Fe use it a lot, and they do some really cool stuff with it. So if you were to look on, I'll put it in chat, the PowerPoint. I'll figure out who they are and I'll put it in, and you can find out some pretty awesome information about the medicine wheel and how it can come into your shamanic practice too.
Okay, and the same with the directions, correct? Because they all tie in, do they not?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I work with a shamanic mentor in way up in northern Canada, and I sent her this version of the medicine wheel from the shamanic teachers in New Mexico, and she said that whenever she does medicine wheel, she always has south down and north up. So she always has it upside down or the opposite way that I sent it to her. I haven't talked to her why, so but wherever you're standing, I I was at a bookstore in Detroit one time, and they were selling maps of the world that was from this that was flipped. That was like Africa was on top, and you look down on North America, and it was liberating. It was disorienting, but it was liberating. So wherever you are in the world, it were a circle, a medicine wheel. I guess you're always looking down somewhere and up somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'll figure out who that is and put it in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Valerie. Go ahead, Sadie.
Yeah, I kind of keep parroting Valerie. I was just gonna say, if you feel called to it, follow that. But I don't think there's like rules to it. I mean, of course, some traditions, depending, there's some foundational teachings that are just the foundation of that tradition. But yeah, anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
Already been.
It seems like with this whole thing and pretty much with whatever we do when we with the metaphysical, with our metaphysical selves, that whatever we're called to and drawn to and guided, that is the thing for us.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I think I'm really falling deeper into that and trusting it. So it definitely makes
That's
sense.
what it's all about, trusting your intuition and trusting what's guiding you and what's calling you. Yeah, for sure. Or just okay. And Valerie, I love what you said about the world upside down, because it's not, I mean, it wouldn't be, right? It's all perspective. I love that. So
thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks. Thank you so much, Kiki, being able to do this.
Thank you.
All right, we've got one more question. Martha. Where is Martha?
I'm here.
All right.
Hi. Okay, so I'm gonna be off topic.
There is no off topic. We're going with you.
I have a situation going on, which most of you know I lost my job because of a situation that I didn't want to go through. And I filed for unemployment. And now I have a hearing because they're saying that I quit, and you know, like a whole thing now I have to pay back. And I just want some insight on, you know, like I'm concerned with this whole thing. And the thing is that the director that was there, she got fired. So now the executive director took over her spot. So she's all about the business aspect. You know, I was there for 13 years and now it's like, you know, so just, you know, what do you see in that situation?
And has this just been unfolding the last like couple of weeks or so, or?
I just got the letter today, and I actually was thinking if I could get some insight on this, you know, now. And I went on my phone and I saw that you guys were on, and I'm like, oh God. So I went in and I'm like, I'm so late. I'm not gonna have a chance to ask my question. And it turns out that I, you know, like
You're in
very
time.
excited. Yes.
You're right in time. Yeah. When was the last time you were? Oh, go ahead, Beth.
I was just going to ask if she could state her question one more time.
My question is about this here, you know, the hearing that I'm going to have with unemployment. You know, if you see how, I guess how things will turn out, you know, or is there anything I have to see, or you know, just some guidance, you know.
It's like Hannah's ready. Go ahead, Hannah. Oh, you're muted, Hannah.
So just to give you a heads up, this might not be super useful, practical information on how it's going to turn out with what you want. Well, the card I drew for you is the Pachamama. So I'm going to read to you about that and then tell you what I also think it kind of means a little bit more for you. So the highlights are: the joy and the pain we taste during our brief time on earth are invitations to discover the boundless love. So for me, that's really inviting you to see what you are grateful for in your life right now. And yes, you have this hearing, but what are the other things that you can focus on, have gratitude, and bring love into the situation, and deepening your connection with the earth and with the divine source, calling on your team to come in with you, because you're not alone. You have that divine support with you. And so you might be showing up in this physical world to this hearing on your own, but you're not alone. Bring your team in with you and get really clear on what you actually want the outcome to be, and write it out as if it's already happened. Because so often we dwell on the negative reality of what we don't want, right? In describing it, you've been there for 13 years and they've thrown you out. But you said that you chose, or that you left because of a situation you didn't want to be involved in, correct?
Well, I didn't want to get vaccinated, so.
Well, right, but I
didn't renew my contract because of that. So it's not that I, you know, voluntarily said I quit and I'm leaving, you know, and now that's the way they're putting it.
But reframe it as you chose yourself, and the universe is going to support you when you trust in yourself, when you show up for you, and that's what you did. right? So it's reframing those thoughts around what's happening. And I'm in the right because I chose myself.
Yeah,
I
and
put
that's what
myself first, I put my health first.
and
And
that's exactly what I told, her. I have to be authentic to me because I can't do something that's not, good for me.
right. And so meditation on it, now is the time to eat right, love right, and be joyous, regardless of the circumstances you find yourself in right now. Be grateful for your life, your joy, and both. Whoever it is that you call upon, planting a tree, protecting anything that makes you are doing this, and count the blessings that you have in your life. Because here with gratitude, the hearing is more likely to be another thing that you're super freaking grateful for. And when you're saying prayers about it, ask for what you want, or God or source, show me how even better than allow you to, and then surrender what's coming and make how and you are about everything else. The rest of your perspective. I see very many answers for you, so we'll see what everybody else has to say.
New Jersey.
Okay, great. So we've got Wyatt and then Valerie and Susy.
New Jersey, quite a way from where
Wyatt.
it is. So I was led to draw wind and winds. So this wind, you can't really read it, but Oya, which is a Yoruba wind, and it comes bearing the transformation and cutting through delusion. And I asked my stack of winds to pull me a direction, and it pulled west. So I'm like, okay, cool, easy enough. From the gatekeeper life within your multi open, keep in mind the first will clear your fields of thought. Yeah, and this is the first I pulled. So, and I'd like to blow wind in for you. So, for Oya, I'd like you to breathe in, out, more, and then breathe all the way out, emptying your lungs until it feels like nothing is in there. And breathe in when you hear the whistle. I call in Oya for you, the wind of transformation. And release.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I think I'm up next.
Yep.
Wyatt, that's not fair to do that before I talk. Come on now. Come on, throat chakra, move it through. That was a little strong for me. I had to tamper that one a little bit as it came in. The first one I was just, that one I had to tamper down. I loved what Hannah and Wyatt have said. I love the trajectory of how we, the practitioners who ask and listen in, can keep parroting each other, keep repeating each other. What I saw when you were speaking is I saw you looking down and kind of walking in a circle, looking for seeds, looking for the story to support your belief and experience. It's almost like remembering, calling the trauma back and finding more and more evidence to make it bigger and bigger and bigger so you can walk in with this big evidence and set it in. And it's not, there's so much more world than on the ground picking up these seeds. And so what came in is, can you look up? I believe that's what Hannah said. Can you look up? Can you look up and see take this story into your hands, and are you willing to let it wind through? I don't know the name of the wind that Wyatt spoke, but to wind through it or crumble. And are you willing to let it wash through your hands in light? Shake it off and walk through the arch of light. It would take so much trust and faith of what is really true for you, beyond the stories, beyond the evidences, beyond. Whew. Can you, okay, I'm going to speak another poem. It's short. It's called Soar Ready, S-O-A-R, Soar Ready. I had my feathers replaced today, along my shoulders and the back of my neck. The old ones hardly catching the currents anymore. I'd forgotten to molt and hung on to everything I ever had. Today I let go. Pluck the disheveled and replace them with the grand. Part angel, part great blue heron, and downy owl feathers along my spine. I don the taloned feet of hawk. Firm, relaxed, unfettered by storms. I see the moon different, shadows as friends. And so this is the medicine that they wanted me to speak of with you today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Susy.
Hey, Martha,
Hi.
you got the letter today, right? So there is still that feeling of shock and I'm going to be recorded. So, oh my God, it's not exactly the word, but you know. So first, getting through that fear, that shock is important because that will allow you to emerge in such a way where you can gain clarity. So breathing, internalizing this in such a way that you can look to see what you have done that was right. Lorelei posted, she posted the link for an article about the vaccine thing, which, you know, we all know that's a flashpoint, but that's not the point. This is you speaking your truth, you living in your truth.
Yeah.
So, and you know, none of the practitioners have said this is how it's going to end because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This is not our story to tell. So, writing out, thank you, Lorelei, for emailing it too. So writing out, it was said to Laura, right, about writing out what expectations and the goals were. So you get to write your story now and how this ends. This will also help you process that shock and oh my godness about it. Allow you to take a moment to center and breathe. Now we understand that your preferred outcome, that your desired outcome is that you don't have to pay it back, that they continue it. Make sure you instill that in your story that you're writing. And I do believe that through the process and trusting the process, trusting your process is going to help you make that breakthrough so you can come up with that, so you can actually see that moment when you are told, no, we understand what you're going for and we understand that no, you don't have to pay it back. But you've got to believe that that's a possibility because you create your own reality with your thoughts. So clearing away that excess, oh my God, to writing your own story with that desired outcome. And trust the process. I mean, I've got you know, Lourdes is over here and she's like, she needs to trust the process. And we know you've got one of those kind of headbutting relationships with your guides, but you know, Lourdes is there. You know that. I mean, I'm assuming that you know that, and I do
Yes,
believe you do.
I actually, the letter for today is, you know, stating the date that it will happen, but I had gotten a letter before, you know, telling me all this. And
Okay.
you know, I actually took it pretty good because as you guys know, you know, the ones that see me grow, I've been working a lot on me,
Good.
and I have gotten much stronger. And I said, you know, whatever the outcome is, it just, you know, there's always that little bit that you wanna like have some reinforcement or just some guidance on. But
Yeah, and that's what being human is about.
yes,
That's about
so
that humanity that we have that we don't always know, and it'd be nice to know. So that's
mhm,
where writing your story about it is going to help you gain that clarity, because you
yeah,
write it out, you're going to say, wait, there's a hole in there, and reread it. You know, that's what I do when I write scripts for any recordings I do. I read it and then I listen to me go off, and then I go, oh wait, that was good, or oh, that sounds dumb. So you get to edit it.
yeah.
Okay.
And that the poem that Valerie read, you know, just loving your enemies. I like that
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm not looking at this like, you know, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Yeah. And you've got this. We know that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
And love.
the universe gave you an easier way to switch career directions. So you were willing to receive that. Now are you willing to keep it? Great. Yeah. And I appreciate your energy tonight. And I appreciate how much you clearly said yes in that response in your body. That was great. All right. Sadie is next. Well, one second. I just want to say Hannah's going to take off before you go. Hannah, do you want to just share your name, your modalities, and your contact info? And I'll put it in the chat again too. Unmute.
You think I would learn? You already got it copied and pasted into my. Nope. I copied psychopomp because I hadn't heard of the term and I've used it. So that's what I was about to paste in the chat. Yeah, let me do that. So my modalities, I use emotion code, Reiki, theta healing, but all of my sessions are, you know, just moving to a curated session where I work with you and your energy to find out what's best for you. So no session is the same. It's all very just, you know, like everybody else, intuitively done on what's for your highest benefit, because everybody isn't the same. It's not a cookie cutter approach. Everybody needs something different or a different entry point into accepting this type of healing or believing that it can happen for them. I know for myself, when I was back in college, if you would have told me the advice I gave you, Martha, I would have thought I was freaking crazy. Like, so it's just, everybody has that way of entering into this work. And so every session is unique and beautiful.
Great. And Hannah, how can people find you online if they want to connect with you?
Oh, Holistic Healing by Hannah.com. I'll go ahead and pop that into the chat for everyone.
I just put it in the chat. It's there. I want to make sure it's in the video. And that's Hannah with an H at the end.
Yes.
Great.
Holistic Healing by Hannah.com. The email address, because I didn't think this through, Hannah@holistichealingbykannah.com. It's a mouthful, but they're all easy to spell.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thanks for being with us. Sadie's got an answer for Martha, and then we are finishing up, and the rest of our practitioners will share also. Thanks, Sadie, so much for waiting.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Hi again, Martha. I don't feel like I have anything more necessarily to add that hasn't already been said, but I just really want to honor where you're at and how scary that can be. And it's very inspiring, though, to hear you share your story and see you doing what is right for you. So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, so good for you.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, Martha, I emailed you the link I found. If for some reason it doesn't come through, just let me know. And
Okay.
yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say, Martha, after hearing your answers?
No, thank you. You know, like I said, whatever it's gonna be, it's going to be. And you know, this is a sign. Walking into a MeWe and having a spot after an hour and 40 minutes, that's like, hello. So yes, I'm held in the arms of spirit.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martha. All right, practitioners, we have reached the end of our panel. I'll just say we have more events coming up tomorrow. We have a free community conversations where everyone has an opportunity to share what are tools that we can do to presence ourselves and to make a positive impact on what's happening across the world with Russia and Ukraine. That's at 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow in this room. Wednesday, we have our Anything and Everything training panel. And Thursday, we have a learning circle where you can do exercises with 3 of us for opening your intuition. And then in Seattle, in Linwood this weekend, we have one of our in-person fairs. Lots going on. I'll put some links in the chat, and practitioners, let's go around and share again your names, your modalities, and your contact info so people can reach you that watch the video. There's this great value in this video too. I guess Wyatt, Susy, Valerie, Saidi.
All right. All right. Hi, everyone. Final time of the night. So my name is Wyatt. You can reach me at thewildwoodhollow@gmail.com. The website is taken down. I no longer use the Wildwood Hollow. I'm representing myself as my name, by the way. But I'm a shamanism practitioner, actor, storyteller, and everything else extraordinaire, I suppose. And super excited to be here and help you heal and rewrite your story. So love you all. Thank you for tonight.
I'm so glad to meet you, Wyatt, and everybody here that I haven't known before, Hannah. So I'm Valerie Szarek, a shamanic practitioner, energy worker, medicine poet, artisan, poet Val, V-A-L, poetval.com is my website. And yeah, I do private sessions, and I have some books for sale. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for your questions and your attendance, your energy.
Thanks, Valerie. Susy and then Saidi.
Thank you. I'm Susy Parker Goins of Blue Lightning Healing, channel, energy healer, guide. I can add shamanic practitioner in now. Thank you all so much for helping me break through that. And I'll cry when I go dark, but you can reach me at Susy@bluelightninghealing.com, and my website is bluelightninghealing.com. I am so grateful for this forum, and thank you, Laureli. Blessings heaped upon you, not a tree on your roof, but blessings. Bye.
Thank you so much, Saidi.
Hi again. I'm Saidi. You can find me I'm with Evolve Your Sexuality. You can find me at www.evolveyoursexuality.com. I do energy healing, the different shamanic practices. Soul retrieval is a big one to really support clearing sexual abuse and trauma or healing from that. I work with women. That's what I'm really passionate about, and supporting the clearing of intergenerational trauma, healing our ancestors, and healing the planet. So yeah, you can find more about me. I have so much. My website is very detailed, and there's a lot on there because I love to write. So I write. And you can find me on Facebook, and and I have some videos on YouTube. I am loving that because I like to talk. So that's been a great thing. So yeah, Thank you. This has been so wonderful. These questions were great, and it's been lovely getting to know everybody and hearing different aspects. I have written some notes, and there's a lot of things I'm going to look into, a lot of interest and inspiration sparked. And yeah, so this is such a journey. I like everybody. Laura, just wonderful format.
And all of our upcoming events at .com. Thanks again, everyone. All the lights shared.